Capitalism has an incredible run for many decades now, but capitalism has always had a partner. And that partner is the social sectors and the nonprofits that support and care for those in our country such that we can do what we do and lead the world. And they deserve great tools. And it's immoral to ask them to do what they do without providing them with the tooling to go as fast as they can to solve the problems that they're working on.
They say it's lonely at the top. They're right. But you don't have to scale your company alone. Welcome to the Scaling CEO. I'm Glenn Gow, the CEO Success Coach. On this podcast, I sit down with top performing CEOs to uncover the hidden patterns and frameworks behind their success so you can avoid common pitfalls and accelerate your company's growth. Now, on to the show. My guest today is Kian Alavi. He spent 2 decades in nonprofit work. He saw brilliant leaders fighting poverty and injustice, but they were all drowning in the 1990s financial infrastructure. He didn't just see this as inefficient. In his own words, it's not just broken, it's immoral. So he decided to fix it. He's the co-founder and CEO of Mazlo, a company he started after seeing his colleagues forced to fight spreadsheet warfare instead of fighting for their mission. Mazlo is the purpose-built financial infrastructure, banking, payments, and accounting that the nonprofit sector always needed but never had. Kian Alavi is a CEO on a moral mission to fix a systemic problem. He just emerged from stealth, raising 4.6 million seed and 4.6 million seed round, and is already proving his point with explosive growth and zero customer churn. We all want zero customer churn. Kian, welcome to the Scaling CEO.
Thank you, Glenn. Great to be here.
Your summary says the old way is just not broken, it's immoral. What was the specific moment you realized that spreadsheet warfare wasn't just a headache, but a moral failure that was holding back the mission of nonprofits?
Yeah, so specifically, the nonprofit sector or those who have committed their talent, their time to doing good has been underserved. And often it's looked down upon. These folks don't have the financial chops. They don't know how to run businesses, et cetera. When the exact opposite is true. Nonprofits deal with incredibly complex fund accounting problems such that they can stay in compliance, and incredibly complex stakeholder management problems, serving one population, fundraising from another, contextualizing that and reporting on that. And it's just incredibly challenging work. And Jim Collins, Good to Great, in the compendium for social sectors, he says his intuition is that nonprofit leaders are potentially some of the best leaders out there because of their ability to navigate such complexities.
Wow.
And so what we see, though, is that they have been underserved with technology and solutions and financial services. And that, I think, is a moral failure. We have an incredible country, and capitalism has an incredible run for many decades now. But capitalism has always had a partner. And that partner is the social sectors and the nonprofits that support and care for those in our country such that we can do what we do and lead the world. And they deserve great tools. And it's immoral to ask them to do what they do without providing them with the tooling to go as fast as they can to solve the problems that they're working on.
I love it. I love it. And you have a fantastic purpose for the company. And talk to us about the challenges for a for-profit CEO when you're trying to sell or build for the nonprofit world.
This is a real thing. So there's a lot of folks well-intended that come into this space and have tried to build for this space. But the problem is that they don't have enough depth in the domain. And as far as their depth goes is as far as they will go. So they can make some progress on solving a certain set of problems, but because they can't or don't have the context on the larger situation and really the outcomes driven that we're driving for, it can be actually harmful, right? I've solved this problem for you, but I've created other problems for you.
Right.
So for myself, I was in the space operating for close to 2 decades, 15 of that indirect service building, scaling, and working in the back office. So as I arrive in the spaces with other great leaders, talented leaders leading very awesome nonprofits, you know, I get that 1 minute with them and I can quickly impress upon them that, sure, I am a startup guy now and I'm leading a for profit endeavor, but that we have a values alignment, right? From the cap table on my side to the reason I'm here, there is a values alignment. And to the work that we're doing, there is a values alignment.
That's the
And
critical
so
factor, the
that
values alignment.
that's right. That minute turns into 30 minutes, and vulnerabilities start to come out amongst both of us, such that we can actually get to the real problem. Versus where most nonprofits like, listen, I'm understaffed, I'm under resourced, and I don't want to talk to somebody else that's trying to sell me a dream and then to ghost on me after implementation. So I understand where they're coming from, and my superpower is that these are my people. I
Yeah,
followed this problem out the door. I'm here
yeah,
risking taking all this risk on my own personal career because I believe we have to do something to solve this problem.
fantastic. And congratulations on the recent seed round. Now, I think you said that raising money is super easy because only 70 VCs passed on you, right? Um, so how do you scale yourself and how do you keep the team going and when you're hearing no 70 times all the while trying to grow and build something?
Yeah, well, I'm not the only one that has hammered on the door and has been told no over and over. Luckily for me, the platform continues to prove itself and grow, and we found a couple great investors that really believed and made the right bet. Because at the end of the day, it is a business, and it's a business that's growing quickly, and it's a wonderful fintech. So I appreciate that not only are we values aligned, but they have done they're going to do great. So that's important. In terms of scaling oneself, this is a problem that all not startup founders, any founder really, is going to deal with. So I have a co-founder. His name is Sean Anderson. He's a magical generalist. He has been working on the product side and the partner side on the technology, while I'm working on the discovery side, the learning side, and the building momentum in the space. And we wear many, many hats. And the further we get up this mountain and the more success we have, knock on wood, means the more complexities and the harder the work gets. And scaling oneself is the hardest part. So, I think it's important to know how to say no. You hear this all the time. That matters because that's really just an execution of these are my priorities and these aren't my priorities. That's an
Right.
actively sorting for your priorities. And it's really hard to do that when everybody's trying to pull you in every direction and things look shiny all over, right? So being able to say no and then getting down to those core things that you have to move on, and then prioritizing those, right? And what is my P0? What could happen next? And is there somebody on my team that can take that and support that? We have an incredible, small, but talented team. And many of them will do that, right? So I just called on our chief operating officer. Her name is Stephanie Castro. And I said, hey, listen, we have this massive project coming down the pipe. I think you're the person to lead this. I'll bring you up the learning curve, and I'll be with there at your side. But this is going to be your P0. And lucky enough, fortunate enough, timing wise, and great team, great culture that we can attract the Stephanies of the world and have really powerful problem solvers next to us so that we can scale off some of these hats to others. But that's a really, really hard problem.
Yeah, thank you,
It's
thank you for that.
chicken
I thought
stuff. Yeah.
no, thank you. um, I really appreciate the challenge of prioritization. I remember when I was a CEO I had a coach for a very long time. And I remember one session where I showed my coach my to-do list. It was very long. It was very aggressive. And I was proud of it because of all the things I was going to accomplish. There were probably 17 things on it. And she said, Glenn, narrow it down to three. And I looked at her like, you don't know how to run a business. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And, and she forced me to narrow it down to three. And that was such a powerful moment for me because frankly, I realized I'm probably not going to get 14 of those done. Not
Mhm.
with not with the resources I have today. So I need to change my approach. I need to focus on those three things that are most important, and I probably need to expand the ability of my team to get those other things done. So I love
Yeah.
that example. But let's talk about something that you've done that seems to be unique, which is zero churn. How do you build a product that sticky that fast?
Well, the answer is not a short one, but I'll do my best. I think at the end of the day, if you're truly showing up for your we call them partners, typically they're called customers, showing up for them, listening and delivering, and we ship very quickly. We're shipping daily. What you end up with is not just wow, this is great, but wow, this keeps getting better.
Oh,
Right. And I think that is a special thing. And for us, that's something that I like fiercely safeguard on our team. I want to make sure that they're locked in, that they're talking to our partners, that we're all there together, swarming them, and that we are a good decision making body, and that we're really not just directionally pointed in the right, but every step that we're executing on is right. Now, as we scale and grow, I'm sure that won't stay perfectly zero, but my goal is to keep it that way. But it's a very special thing.
it sounds like you've created a special project, a product, one that can continually improve. So that's part of the secret. You started your career at Morgan Stanley, then spent 20 years in nonprofits, and now you're a VC-backed fintech CEO. So, what would the Morgan Stanley version of Keon think of the nonprofit leader version? And what would both of them say about the CEO version today?
Early on, I had my own internal calling to do good and a high level of empathy for the world around me. And, I dealt with that quiet, torture when you saw things going wrong in society or around you or folks and feeling that like despair, like how can I solve and support these things? So even though I did the good, you graduated, you got to go get a real job and do the things that your parents tell you to do, that stuck with me. And so I've been pulled to this work or pulled to the work that just allows me to be there in community with others doing good things. Um, I don't know if the young me would. I know the young me would recognize the me that I am today, because inside I am no different in terms of who I am spiritually. But I think that they might be surprised as to the different turns and that I've taken in my journey. But the one thing I will say is like for those of us who care about each other and we slow down and we learn about each other, there's always an extraordinary story living behind somebody, and mine is also got crazy turns and exciting ups and very low lows. But through it all, I've just continued to follow my heart, and do my best with my brain and my body to execute.
And I so honor that, and not only do I believe that it's critical for the success of a company, but it also happens to be this amazing leadership trait because when you can be sincere to the people that you're bringing into the fold, they believe in the purpose. What I tell CEOs is if you have a purpose in your company, and not every company has a really cool purpose, but if you have one, you want to ask yourself, how do you get people to wake up in the morning and say, I want to go to work. I want to work harder. I want to put in the extra hour, not because I'm going to get a bonus or a promotion, but because I believe in the mission of this company. And you're very fortunate and you've done a tremendous amount of work to be in a place that works for you.
I thank you for that. Yeah, it's interesting to be at an intersection of being able to build a career and a life and take care of oneself and family, but also be in service with every step that you do, and that's hard. And I will say about myself and really the founding team, including everybody, their passion for this work runs so deep. At the end of the day, they know because they hear from our partners how impactful this is, and how helpful it is to their work. And now they have real time clarity on their financial data. Now they can sleep at night. Now they know they're going to pass audits without a hitch. Now they know their filings are going to occur. Their reportings are going to be great. They're going to
Right.
build trust with their donors and the foundations that give with them because they're so financially precise and living in a real time world versus before when they were living in 12 checkpoints a year in your accounting software. So I think the mission of this work or the ability to serve people really brings out the best in folks. you know I'm possessed. My team knows this. Um, and I hope that they work as hard as me and spend as much time as me. But if they get close and they're doing it consistently and they're on the field every day, and they're doing the best work of their life, I know that the tempo is there and that we're going to be okay. And I'm surrounded by talented, amazing people that are here for the right reasons. A paycheck's only going to get you so far.
That's
At
right.
some point, you're going to log off and you're like, I'm just not going to deal with this crap anymore. This is not my
That's right.
mission. Right. But if it's your mission to do good or you want to see the world do good, it's easy for our mission to be everyone's mission who joins us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, last topic, artificial intelligence. So your investor and guest on this podcast, Tom Chavez, said that Mazlo can set the standard for this sector via new revenue tools through AI. So nonprofits are all about compliance and trust. So as AI becomes more important, how does it change your scaling roadmap? How do you plan to use AI to build trust, not to break it?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I'll share that, we were early users of the tools when they became available. And our whole team is constantly using and experimenting everything that comes out. So there's a deep curiosity there. There's also, an understanding that sometimes the tools aren't there and aren't ready for these big dreams and big visions. And there's also a lot of concerns and ethical concerns, and rightfully so, around AI, right? There's the energy footprint that's required. There's also the data concerns, et cetera. And AI is not totally perfect, right? And these LMs aren't totally perfect. Now, that's not necessarily a problem when you're processing massive amounts of data and it's about logistics. And it's okay if a container ship shows up somewhere else because you've saved 50% costs on the optimization and the deep thinking that is allowed to you. It's a little different in fintech. Right. There's a zero fault policy when it comes to financial transactions. Right.
Right.
So we have to be extremely careful in our implementation. Now that said, you know, um, there is no doubt that we have entered into a new transformative period of technology, and that the agentic workflows or the workflows that can bring agentic support to are going to really become amazing. We're already starting to see it, and we're experimenting there as well. We stay close to our partners on this. We talk to them about everything we're thinking about and everything we're building. And we can add incredible amounts of value with AI. And we do now, and we will continue to do so. The thing about a nonprofit is that nonprofits don't get equity. And generally speaking, you're lucky if you're getting market rate for the work that you're doing.
Right.
And if you're in the back office and you're doing work that could be done over in the for-profit space, you're fighting against those numbers and that equity package for that talent. So we're historically under-resourced and understaffed. And AI provides a great opportunity here for us to finally close the gap and
Yeah.
have the thinking power that we need to deal with our complexities if implemented ethically, appropriately, and at the right time with zero fault, especially in the financial space. Wow, what can occur is just mind blowing. And what you'll see is the cost to operate nonprofits will drop drastically. And that means more funds going to the front line and the work, which means more impact, which will will support a cycle of positivity, but if implemented appropriately.
Amazing. Amazing. So you're going to help speed up the transformation in nonprofits. So, Kian, we're out of time. It's been a pleasure. Tell the audience how they can reach you.
Mazlo.com. That is our website. You can find me on LinkedIn. Please do reach out. If you are a nonprofit leader or working in nonprofit or serving nonprofits as a subject matter expert, I'd love, love, love to chat with you and to show you what we're working on and also get your insights and feedback, because this is a movement. We do it together. We do it and we go forward together.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Glenn.
That's a wrap for today's episode of The Scaling CEO. If you found this valuable, be sure to like, subscribe, and share with a fellow CEO who could benefit. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please give us a quick rating, as it really helps more people find the show. I'm Glenn Gow, the CEO Success Coach. See you next time for more proven strategies to grow your business and leadership.